comes Aram. Quarterfinals are in the books tonight, and before we get to Aram's guest, let me run through the Southeast Division quarterfinal scores tonight. Lucerna 51-7 smackdown over Diamond Bar that was never even close. Burbank a 42-0 winner over Santa Fe, so Lucerna will host Burbank next week, probably at Cal High. Muir, the Mighty Mustangs, without Dijon Miller, beat Dijon Williams 27-2, and Norwalk 19-7 over Dominguez. So you got Muir hosting Norwalk next week, Aram, and Lucerna hosting Burbank.
Right. So pretty eventful night, obviously, across the valley. As far as the Tribune area is concerned, lose quite a lot of teams. Didn't have that many left, Freddie. The Pasadena area, though, rolls on, Stevie.
Yeah, four teams left.
Four teams. The final four in the Pasadena.
With St. Francis, Muir, Monrovia, and Rio Hondo Prep. And then the Whittier area has only one team left, and that's kind of their usual suspect. That's because La Habra lost tonight 49-48. So there's only one team left in the Whittier area, and the quarterback of that team, Frankie Palmer, the guy who's no stranger to making deep runs in the playoffs, joins us now. Frankie, congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you.
Listen, Frankie, we want to talk to you about the scene out there tonight at Diamond Bar. Obviously, this game was billed as Noodles and Noodles' return, and you're playing against Snoop Dogg's son. Fred gets an interview with Snoop Dogg, but you guys stole the show. How are you able to wax this team so easily?
Well, the whole idea of the week was to keep our composure throughout the game. Like, we knew that they were going to be talking, we knew it was going to be loud, and just coach kept telling us to keep our composure and just walk away, get our yards, and just walk away. And so we did that. Our defense did a great job of shutting them out, other than that one touchdown, and our offense just kept pounding it.
Yeah. Frankie, this is Fred Robledo here. I was at that game tonight. I mean, you had one play tonight. I swear, I think they had you for a 25-yard loss, and I don't know how you got away from those guys. You turned it into a first down. It led to a field goal. It was 17-0, then it went to 24-0, 31-0. I mean, you guys really handled this team. I mean, how much does the experience that your team has and you have of being in two championships and wanting to get back there for one last shot at winning it really motivate you guys?
That came into a big part of the game because, like our coach said before, like, we've been there, we've done this already. They haven't, so we just have to stay composed and do what we know how to do and keep working hard and play lots of football.
Hey, Frankie, who in their right mind would pick against you guys? I don't understand it.
I sure didn't.
I didn't.
That was motivation. That was motivation too. My boy Aram picked against us.
Aram. Frankie, man, it was very hard to do, man, because you're Frankie football. Man, way to prove me wrong, so to speak.
I want to ask you one more question about the game and your defense. I mean, God, I was impressed that Tyler Peterson for Diamond Bar. I mean, both Tylers, they couldn't do anything against you guys. Can you talk about your speed, especially on the edges? They couldn't even get outside and do anything, particularly in the first half.
Yeah, our defense did a great job of just flying to the ball. The thing about our defense is we're fast and we gang tackle. And our coach Belchamp puts a great defensive scheme together, and our guys just listen to what he says and complete the job.
Yeah. Frankie, let me ask you something, man. For you've been to 2 straight CIF championship games. You haven't won one yet, and you're looking like the favorite to do so this year and finally get that ring for yourself. But what sort of experience, how does that help you personally, and then how you relay that to the team to kind of get through, these 3 games that you need to get through to get into that championship game?
Well, just the fact that we have to play game by game, and especially the kids that haven't been there, they look to us seniors that have been there. So it's just working hard each week just to play that game and win that game. We can't look ahead or look to the CIF championship until we beat or win the quarterfinals and the semis. So we have to make sure we're focusing on that week
Really quick, Frankie, look ahead. I mean, Burbank, they just smacked Santa Fe tonight, 42-0. That's your next opponent next week. What are your first thoughts?
Well, every team's good now, and once you get to the semis, there's no scrub teams anymore, and we just have to go in and watch a lot of film and study their tendencies, and then just complete the job that our coaches gives to us.
Very good.
Yeah, Frankie, congratulations, man. You know, another big night. You know, I was just wondering for my own personal self, how does this team rank compared to the other two championship or finalist teams that you've been on? I mean, is this the best of the three? I mean, it looks like defensively this one's better than the last two. I don't know if it's fair to ask you to compare them, but if you can, you know, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're different teams. Like a lot of, especially our defense. Our defense was a lot of power last year and like big guys up front. And then compared to this year, we're super fast, especially on the edges, and we're super athletic everywhere. So I think that's the big difference between the two teams is like the speed and athleticism compared to like the bigness and power. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, congratulations again, Frankie. You're well on your way to a third straight championship game. Frankie Palmer, quarterback at Lucerna, led the Lancers to an easy win tonight over Diamond Bar. I don't know anybody who would have picked Diamond Bar. I mean, it's just craziness betting against Frankie Palmer.
I tried to tell him, Frankie, you know, I was sitting there kind of laughing when he changed his pick, but that's, you know, that's Aram.
Yeah. All right.
Never change your pick.
Right, exactly. Thanks, Frankie. Thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the way. I'm sure we'll talk to you again.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's Frankie Palmer, folks. He led, obviously, Lucerna, and Lucerna's defense led Lucerna tonight past Diamond Bar. Kind of a shocking result. Freddie, Noodles tonight. Any factor at all?
No, not at all. You know, early in the game, Aram, they tried to go to him, tried to get him involved. I think he had 2 or 3 catches the whole night. I mean, he was really just kind of a non-factor. They finally got going. Peterson to Brodus kind of late third quarter. You know, he had about 7 catches, I think, Cordell. But they couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball at all. I mean, even when they tried to get outside, go inside, they couldn't do anything. That Lucerna defense just absolutely smothered them. I mean, they manhandled them from beginning to end. I mean, the halftime score, I think it was 31-0 at half. I'm not sure if it was 31 or 38.
I think that's what it was.
But they had like minus 3 yards rushing. You know, Peterson had only connected like 3 or 4 passes.
How good is that Lucerna defense?
They're good. They're very.
I mean, are they big, speedy? What is it?
Speedy. You know what it was? They're really quick. I mean, they fly to the football. I mean, as soon as you get it, they've got 2 or 3 guys wrapping you up. I was really extremely impressed. I mean, I haven't seen. You know, when you compare them to what we've seen in the Hacienda League this year, there's no comparison.
No comparison.
And the Hacienda League is really proving to be, I think, a really overmatched league in this division this year. They just were.
Well,
when you look at the way Diamond Ranch went out against Santa Fe, and Santa Fe gets smacked tonight.
Yeah.
You're looking at the leagues that are good. You look at the Pacific League now. Burbank and Muir are still alive and winning impressively. It's obviously it's the Pacific League, and it's Lucerna, the Del Rio. And what they're going to get next. It is what it is.
Okay.
Muir's the real deal, and Lucerna's the real deal.
We can talk about Muir now. That was the game that I was at tonight. Muir 27-2 over Los Altos. They get the win for Day. DeJon Williams, the quarterback, obviously, that was the big story this week across the blogs and Twitter. His suspension for really questionable taunting call and a referee that chose not to rescind that decision despite the best efforts of not only Muir but even La Mirada to try and say, hey, we think this kid should be playing. It fell on deaf ears. Muir needed to win tonight so that DeJon Williams could get that. You know, that maybe his final game or you know, another game or maybe even another 2 games here. There's even talk that Muir maybe has a chance at a state bowl game if they win or getting into the playoffs if they win the CIF championship because they'll be 13-1. But they get that job done tonight, guys. David Madrid, the backup quarterback, he does get some time in there. He's bounced around a few schools, St. Paul, South Pasadena, La Mirada even to name a few. He starts tonight at quarterback. Throws 2 touchdown passes. Tayon Mason, huge game, catches a touchdown pass, intercepts a pass, takes it back. Los Altos is shut out in this game. their offense. Surprised me too.
2-0, and that was that, huh?
Yeah, and this Mirror team was missing, its best defensive player, a kid named Terry Wilson, who got injured last week, and still Mirror just too speedy for these guys, and it was an inspired effort. And Stevie, you got a Coach of the Year decision, I'm sure, to make. Jim Bonds is having a great year. Ryan Maddox, normally, great year. His usual. And then obviously, Rihanna Prep and Ken Drain. But the job John Hardy's done, I mean, when you consider he lost his star quarterback, and this was something that was kind of lingering the whole week, still gets the team ready, and they go out there and blow out Los Altos and into the semifinals. That guy's got to be leading the way for you, man. I don't know.
Well, I think it's kind of. It's kind of.
Jim Bonds is doing a pretty good job at St. Francis too.
Right, I mentioned him.
Yeah, I mean, they only won 4 games last year, and now they're 10-2 in the semifinals. And I think the way they played Sarah the first time, they have a chance in that game. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but if they can match that effort, I think they have a chance in that game. So if he got to the finals, they haven't been to the finals since the early '60s when they won back-to-back titles. So it can go either way right now. It just depends on who does well these last 2 rounds.
Yeah, and we're hoping to get Day Williams on. We thought we could, but we're having a little trouble getting that right now. I can tell you that Freddie, you'll like this. As part of his suspension, he's not even allowed in the stadium to watch the game, or else they risk forfeiting that game. So he had to watch from home, presumably, or somewhere. And, I was tweeting back and forth with him tonight on Twitter because he was kind of following my score updates. I
hope that's legal. I hope you could follow the game on Twitter.
I would hope so.
That's actually.
I hope CIF doesn't ban that in the future.
Someone pull out the blue.
They probably will.
Somebody pull out the blue back.
Following the game on Twitter.
Yeah.
Social media ban.
Right, exactly right. Maybe they want you to drive out to the desert when you're suspended for a game, and just hang out there. And someone give you a call and say it's all clear now.
We want to penalize you. This is about penalizing people.
But Freddie, seriously, I don't want to say all's well that ends well because the kid did lose a game, but it is good in the sense that he will now get to fight on another week. They didn't lose, He's going to get a game.
Yeah. And I kind of thought, and I think we had talked about this a little bit after, Aram. Sometimes when something like this happens, it gets the rest of the players really fired up, and it looks like particularly on defense, they really came to play tonight. They had something to prove, and for him to be able to play next week, look, I picked Mir to get to the finals, and they're proving week in and week out that they're a team capable of getting there now. If they wind up getting there, after what I saw tonight with Lucerna, that's why Lucerna's my pick to win it all. I mean, I haven't seen Mir this year, so it's hard for me to say. I would think that a team with a lot of speed and athletic like Mir would be the type of team that could probably give Lucerna a game.
Right.
Because Lucerna's speed was too much for Diamond Bar. I don't know if they'll be able to do the same thing against Mir. I just hope that those 2 teams, Aram, get to the finals because that would be just a super match for all of us to watch.
Right. Yeah. If things change and we're able to get Day on, obviously we will. But we can now move on to
Mid-Valley.
Mid-Valley Division.
Let me run this through real quick. Monrovia 41-7 over Montebello. Paraclete beat Pomona 46-23, so Monrovia is going to head to Paraclete next Friday. San Dimas throws another 50 spot on a team. They beat San Marino 56-28 in Arroyo with the big win. After just escaping Baldwin Park last week, goes ahead and beats Sure 28-14. Arroyo will host San Dimas.
We're going to get to that, Freddie.
Yeah.
Man, that's going to be exciting.
We're going to get to that Arroyo thing. We're going to call Jim Singheiser right now. I'm going to try and put a cross on him.
I got Bill Zernico waiting in the
wings,
too.
Well, Coach Zernico, the matchup of the semifinals coming up in a few. But for now, we'll call Coach Singheiser. And I have a theory that I want to lay across with him.
Go ahead.
Coach, you with us? Oh, geez, I hung up on him. Sorry.
You hung up.
Incidentally, while Aram's still trying to get a hold of him, if Monrovia and San Dimas won, Monrovia would get that championship game. I've kind of already figured it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Aram, what's up?
Coach Singheiser, thank you for joining us. Jim Singheiser, the head coach of the Arroyo Knights, joins us. They march on into the semifinals for the first time since, I believe, 2004, Coach. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so Arroyo into the semifinals for the first time since 2004. The big win tonight over Sure. Coach, before we get into the win tonight, before we talk about obviously this good performance and where you are, I want to turn the clock back to last week, and this is something that I put across with Mark Paramo, the head coach of Rosemead, last week, going into last week's games. You guys, people will say, struggled with Baldwin Park. They were an at-large. You were number 2, the number 2 seed. You squeak out of there, I think, 56-53. Rosemead goes on the road to Pomona. They get shellacked. And I had asked Coach Paramo earlier that week, as the loser of that Arroyo Rosemead game that you guys played in Week 10, do you think you can bounce back? He said he thought they could. He talked to me this week. He said, obviously, we didn't. Now, I want to ask you, were the subpar performances by you and Rosemead, do you think last week was because of some kind of hangover effect from that grueling Rosemead game that you guys played?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much that played into it. Obviously, the game last week didn't go the way we wanted. We had opportunities the first half. Defensively, we did some things that were pretty well. We did some things well. I think we had 2 turnovers, an interception, a fumble recovery, 2 fourth down stops, and we got no points out of it. And the second half, we couldn't stop a soul, and our offense couldn't be stopped. I don't know if there was a hangover. They did some things that were different. They had a back. They went from about an 80% pass team to an 80% run team, and we just didn't adjust well to it. That said, at this point in the year, we don't have a lot of depth anyway, and we're beat up. But that's no excuse. But I don't know. I don't think it had a hangover to do with in terms of emotionally or anything like that. We were a little beat up, a little bruised. And they did some things that we just hadn't seen on film in the 4 or 5 games that we broke down.
Wow. Okay, so Sure tonight, Coach. Their defense obviously is what they kind of hung their hat on this season, and you put up 21 points on them, which is kind of saying something because that defense was very good. Talk about this win tonight. Again, a big game. Your defense steps up, holds them to 14. Talk about how you were able to put up 21 on their defense, 28, pardon me, and then also how your own defense was able to kind of put the clamps on them.
It really just came down to turnovers, to be honest with you. We did a good job. I think we ended up with 3 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries on defense. They went for a fake field goal that we stopped, where they had a bad snap, we recovered it. And then we had 1 or 2 fourth down stops. So we were able to stop them. Kind of like it was a lot defensively. It was a lot like the Rosemead game. They lined up. They came right at us, and we did a really good job with it. The 2 touchdowns they got were off the turnovers. One was a fake punt that we had a fake punt return on. We had our defense out there, and guys, they're 17-year-old kids. They just got caught up in the moment and chased the wrong guy and got beat on a fake punt for a touchdown, and then we muffed the punt late in the game, and that gave them their other touchdown. So defensively, we played fine. Offensively, we got set up twice with interceptions deep in their territory, and we came away with 14 points, which we didn't do the week before. And then we actually had a touchdown drop where Nico Lozano was probably 10 yards behind everybody, and just unusual for him. He just, I think he thought he was stepping out of bounds and tried to do too much instead of just catching the ball, and could have been 35. But we played well defensively tonight, much better than we played last week. It was a good answer back for us. We needed it. There's no such thing as a good 53. But offensively, we pounded it at them. They're a good defense. They play off, they make you throw underneath, and they make you run the ball, and then they got some guys at linebacker that it seemed like they made play after play. But we kept pounding at them and got it done.
Hey, Coach, this is Freddie. First, congratulations getting to the semifinals.
Thank you.
I'm looking at this bracket right now, Coach, and this is just a monster Final Four. Monrovia, Paraclete, San Dimas, and yourself. But I think anyone who's kind of looking at it, you look like the Cinderella in this equation when you look at these four teams. What are your thoughts, first of all, with San Dimas and how well they played since starting 0-4? I mean, it seems like ever since that 0-4 start, they've been putting 50 or more on someone every single week, and it's continuing in the playoffs. Another 56-28 win over San Marino. Talk about what you're up against with them coming to Arroyo next week.
I know Phil pretty well. Obviously, we played him a couple years ago, and it came down to the last couple inches of a game, whatever. But
I was there.
I think they got pissed off. To be honest with you, I think they got tired of people talking about 0-4. You look at their schedule; they had to have one of the toughest preseasons in the Valley, and it certainly got them ready. And I think they just made up their mind that when they got into the league and they were going to take it out on people and show them that that's what they're capable of doing to anybody, and they've done it to everybody since then. So it's a tall order. You talked about the teams that are left: Paraclete, Monrovia, and San Dimas. They've been running this division for a long time. They're three of the best teams that this division's had. For us to be up there with them, I think we belong there. Based on this year, the year that we've had, can't ask any more from my kid. But it's taken a lot for us to get where we're at. I don't consider us, traditionally or historically on that level. These guys every year are vying for CIF titles, and we're not. But we're going to go in there, we're going to take our cuts, and we're going to get after it. And we'll see what happens when we get to the fourth quarter. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we're still in it. And we got an opportunity to throw the ball. We can throw the ball with anybody, and that'll keep us in a lot of games. So they're a hell of a football team, man. They're a hell of a football team.
Right, Coach, man. 30 years. I know you haven't been there for all of them, but 30 straight years in the playoffs for Arroyo. Just absolutely outstanding. First semifinals since 2004. You kind of break that whole thing people were saying about Arroyo not being a good playoff team. You kind of bust through that this year. What's that?
That's neat. That's neat. The 30 years is a big deal because, you just assume sometime over 30 years. I've been here for 21 of them. Obviously not all as the head coach, but we got to keep the streak going when I took over. And there's a lot of schools that a lot of really good schools that missed the playoffs here, missed the playoffs there. And people talk about our league being down or our league is weak, and maybe it is, but to never really have a year where you're outside of the top three, that's one of the biggest accomplishments we've got at the school. And then to get into the semifinals with a group that I don't think anybody outside of our school really felt was a team capable of doing that.
Yeah.
It's a neat deal. It's a real neat deal for the kids. We're happy about it. We enjoy the opportunity we got. We'll see what happens.
Hey, man, Thanksgiving practice.
It'll be fun. We talked about last week, getting respect and coming from a smaller league. Trying to get respect, but this is for us. It's a big deal. I know if you're San Dimas, Paraclete, Monrovia, you don't expect to just make the playoffs and maybe get a league, a playoff win. But this is the third year we've gotten out of the first round, and out of Mission Valley League, that doesn't happen very often at all. So, we've done it for 3 years in a row. We've gotten to the semifinals this year. We're proud of that. But, I'm not saying we're bucking any trends here, but over the course of the last 5 years, we've had a good football program. When your losses in the first round are to Whittier Christian and San Dimas, that makes it kind of tough. That was our losses in 2009 and 2010. Then 11, 12, and 13, we've gotten out of that first round, and we've been able to battle and get a couple wins out of it. So it's nice for the kids, it's nice for the school.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you do a great job with what you guys have over there. Congrats to you and the coaching staff. And home game next week against San Dimas, a day after Thanksgiving. Just outstanding. Congratulations, Coach.
I appreciate it. Like I said, the kids do all the work. you've never heard me. You'll never hear me talk about my staff or me. That's not who we are. We've got kids that work hard. They listen to what we say, and it takes. We're not the most balanced team. I mean, you were at the Los Altos game. You see that. Anybody that comes by our practice sees that. We got kids that work hard. We do have some talented kids, but athlete to athlete, coach to coach, even we don't match up with some of these guys.
I don't know. I see a lot of 6'5", 220-pound kids over there, Coach. I see them.
Yeah, we must have missed them. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to coach a kid like that anyway.
Well, actually, you are bigger than usual along that defensive line, Coach, and I got to think that's got to help. I mean, not only this coming week against San Dimas, but a big reason why you've won 11 straight games here.
I mean, it's the first time we've had two guys, up front, and they're not giants. I mean, Baldwin Park was huge compared to us, but we got two guys that run around 6 foot, 260, 70 pounds,
right.
But they're good athletes.
Right.
And those are the two biggest kids on our team. But again, they have to work hard. If they don't work hard, they can't play because we just don't have enough pieces around them to get the job done otherwise. And like I said, the coaches that are left, they do a great job. To be able to play those types of schools, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We're just going to ride this thing till it breaks and see what happens.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Coach, and congratulations. And we'll see you on Friday night.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Coach. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, that was Arroyo coach Jim Singheiser. Are you calling Zernico now?
See if we can follow it up with
now for
Coach
the
Z.
other half of that game. Just put it next to that one.
Coach Zernico, we just finished talking to Coach Singheiser, singing your guys' praises tonight. Your thoughts on what you've been able to do? We were just talking about the 0-4 start, Coach, and the way you've won 8 straight, and the way you're winning them. I mean, I was there at the Pomona game a few weeks ago, where you just routed them in the league title game. And in the playoffs, it hasn't stopped. It's like you guys are throwing 50 on every single team you play. How are you doing it right now?
We're just doing what we do. There's nothing special or anything like that. Just staying to the plan and keep coaching and get the kids interested and hopefully win out in the end.
Do you think that after you lost that fourth game with these players and everything that had gone on in the summer, that these guys believed that they could turn it around and that you could be in this position late in the season? Because that's hard with high school kids to convince them when they're 0-4 and they're walking on campus and everyone's kind of looking down on them. I mean, they don't realize you played a pretty tough schedule. How did you keep them believing that you could turn this around?
Well, I think we kept on preaching it, and they saw they were getting better by our play each week was continuing to get better. We're overcoming the defensive coordinator coaching and all that kind of stuff too. And so we're just trying to get everybody almost made deal there.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on Arroyo? This is another team that's hot right now. They've only lost one game this year to Los Altos. What are your thoughts? They beat Sure tonight 28-14, and you're going to go there next week. What is your impression?
They're obviously a great football team with a little bit of their own at then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a tough thing to handle. So we're going to have to really work hard to be on our A game.
Hey, Coach Aram here. I wanted to talk to you about San Marino real quick, if you wouldn't mind turning back. They had a really dynamic offense that was putting up a lot of points this year. They even got out on Monrovia early. Your defense tonight, though, it looks, by all measures, that you guys came up pretty good against them defensively.
Yeah, I think our defense is getting a lot better. Again, early in the year, when you're starting, 9 underclassmen on your defense, you tend to have to get some teams in your belt until you get better. So we're starting to get better. Yeah,
and Coach, your offense tonight, I mean, San Marino is kind of notorious for giving up a lot of points against good teams this year, and that happened again, obviously, tonight. Did you feel it was important to jump all over them early? I know you're the one that's kind of calling the shots offensively. You're the guy with, you know, the remote control, so to speak, or the you know, the game controller up there. Were you really kind of pressing the buttons early to get out on San Marino early and get up on them?
Well, I think everybody can play. We try to get out early and get up on them. You know, it's our mentality. We attack offense. We want to score as many points as we can early in the game, so hopefully we can let our defense play ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know you watch a lot of the teams in this division. If you can look at the other side for a minute, I mean, the winner of your game in Arroyo is going to play in the championship against the Monrovia Paraclete winner, and that game's on the road. We know about Monrovia down here. What are your thoughts on Paraclete? Have you seen them on film? I mean, what do you know, and what kind of game will that be?
Paraclete's a tough team. They get a bunch of kids who've played in a lot of games every single year. Norm does a good job of bringing his underclassmen up, so they're strong, and he's coaching them. They go to all games down in the San Gabriel Valley, so they're always well prepared. Have film on everybody. So, you know, they're a really good football program.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach. Well, hey, you know, not many people would have thought back in September you guys would be where you are, but congratulations. You know, like we told Arroyo's coach, Jim Singheiser, the proverbial Thanksgiving Day practice, man. That's how you know you're doing something really well, and especially this year with the schedule kind of moved up or back a little bit, where now it means you're in the semis.
Right. So, hey, we're kind of fired up. It's a blessing to do it 5 years in a row, so it's playing.
Wow.
Yeah, outstanding, Coach. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks for talking to us tonight.
All right, we'll talk to you guys. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Very good. So there you go.
Stevie, man, San Marino. Huh?
Well, it kind of, I mean, if you look at the score, it kind of went the way I kind of thought that they wouldn't be able to
be closer.
Well, I thought it
Fred didn't.
I thought it had potentially to be closer, but I didn't think San Marino would be able to stop San Dimas, and it looks like they didn't.
No.
And they just couldn't keep up. It looks like.
I'm starting to put scores together with things that I actually watch. When you know, Pomona getting to the next round and the way they smacked Rosemead last week. San Dimas is just the real deal. And when you look at what they did to San Marino, you know, you go back to the San Marino-Monrovia game where Monrovia got behind and they had to kind of rally and pull away in the end. That didn't happen here. San Dimas got on top of San Marino quick, just like they have any other team, and they scored some points, San Marino, to make it actually closer. But this was another route. I mean, when you talk about punch for punch, everything Monrovia is doing, San Dimas is coming right back against a similar opponent and showing that we can do it too. This is setting up, guys. And Arroyo's had a great year. Yeah. They really have. I don't think they're going to be able to stop San Dimas. Yeah. And this is really setting up for one great heavyweight fight championship in the Mid-Valley if it's Monrovia and San Dimas. And it'll be another rematch, something we've seen before. And gosh,
as the in past years, the winner of the regular season match hasn't come through in the postseason. So everything is favoring.
But I think that actually ended though.
It did end. Okay.
I think. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I think that actually ended a couple years ago.
And if you're forecasting it all the way through, if Monrovia and San Dimas both win, then Monrovia is the host for the Mid-Valley Division Championship game, which they've been able to prove they've been able to hold it at their place.
It's a great place to hold a championship game, as we saw last year when they beat Paraclete.
Let's not write off Arroyo. Let's not write off a Paraclete at home.
No, I wouldn't write off either of them. And I want to say, Freddie,
this is the Final Four that everyone I think
you did some comparative scoring there, but Los Altos is a common opponent for San Dimas and Arroyo. And Arroyo actually played Los Altos better than San Dimas did. So there's something to go off of.
Only thing I'd say about that was way back in September.
It was. You're right. And I don't know if there were injury issues or what. But Freddie, the other thing is, you're going to go see Arroyo next week, and you're going to see a little bit of a different Arroyo team size-wise, especially on that defensive line. They're not, as small as they kind of usually are. They got some really big guys on that defensive line, and that, I think, has been the difference, along with great quarterback play. The fact that they can throw the ball in a division where a lot of teams can't. That's been the difference this year.
I think the whole key for these teams facing San Dimas, I'd say like Arroyo, is to get out of the first quarter and not be down 21-0, not
Yeah.
be down 17-0, because when you are against a team like that, it's demoralizing, and you just can't stop it. They have got to find a way. Coach Singheiser just said right now, we want to be able to get in the fourth quarter and see what happens. You've got to get to that point.
Yeah.
But because they put you away early, San Dimas, they'll run.
But Arroyo with their passing attack, even if they do get behind, at least these other teams, when they get behind, they can't pass the ball.
Right.
Arroyo can. I think Cotto had 32 touchdowns going in.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
So.
Really fantastic.
If they have to come from behind, at least they have the capability of doing it.
Yeah,
but it'll be tough.
We should mention that Charter Oak season ended tonight, Freddie. They went on the road to Vista Marietta, a nationally ranked team. The Charters, I think they were in it for a little while.
I'm thinking, Bob Daly was out there covering it. He calls me at the end of the first quarter, 7-0.
Right, I think they're in it.
They're playing this game. And then a half hour later he calls me and he's saying it's 45. I said 25? No, he's saying it again. I said 35? No, he goes 4-5. Wow. 45-0 at half. I said, my gosh.
It's kind of like their first year in the Inland, and they were the wild card, I think, and I covered them up there, and it was like that. They were in the game the first half actually, then they gave up, I think, a punt return for a touchdown. Got down by a couple touchdowns, and then got blown out in the second half.
And I'll give you my whole thoughts on this. Right now, is I look at what happened tonight. Diamond Bar getting beat down against Lucerna. We saw West Covina go out. We saw Diamond Ranch, the number one team in the Hacienda, get eliminated. And we're watching our lower level teams in the Trivia area, Arroyo, San Dimas. They're going to go on. They're going to play in the semifinal, and it's great. But the teams that I would love to see compete, and we're going to see it next year finally, thank goodness. Charter Oak getting beat the way it did. A team like that doesn't deserve to have to be in an Inland division and go on and play one of the best teams nationally. They can't. And you're going to have South Hills come back into the fold. You're going to have Glendora come back. These are three teams, Aram, that if you put them in the Southeast Division, they're going to represent. They're Charter Oak. Imagine if Charter Oak was playing.
Yeah, but we're not sure we're not sure if the Sierra's coming back.
For this area, you look at it, you think it's so down. It's really not that it's so down. It's misplaced.
Yes, it is, and
they're going to come back next year.
Hold your horses.
We're not sure on that entirely, right?
Yeah, we're not, and I'm hearing some things that this Southeast Division and the Palomares League might be going to the Southwest Division with the La Habras of the world, and even some other leagues that might surprise you, like the Sunset League where Los Alamitos is. Yeah. Things aren't quite going. They're bandying around, they're coming up with some kind of drafts right now, these playoff advisor or these divisional advisory committees, and they're not quite what we were thinking, Fred. So hold off on everyone thinking that those two leagues will be in the Southeast, because the Southeast could look really different.
And maybe they don't. But the whole purpose of these divisions, when they set them up, when they went back to this, were area divisions.
Right.
And if they do the right thing, you bring those teams back in this area, and it's the area.
I don't like
years
that.
Of San Gabriel Valley, I love the area.
I don't like it.
I love area divisions.
See, I liked it when Charter Oak was playing like Newport Harbor. I thought that was great.
Yeah. No, I like more area.
Yeah,
I liked it when Gano played Orange County.
I think that's what state playoffs are for. You get that point.
No, but
that's what non-league football.
I thought it was a great thing when Los Altos beat Foothill and Orange Lutheran in back-to-back years. It's sometimes it's neat to go into another area and beat
great.
them.
I knew a good chicken place in Newport Beach that was good to go to when Charter Oak played Newport Harbor. So there's something to be said for what Fred's saying, though, too, because you get these huge crowds, and it's just got that extra feel. But nonetheless, those things are going to look probably going to look a little different than what we're all thinking. Stevie, St. Francis tonight takes care of Camarillo.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like last week where they kind of didn't look like they had all year in the first half.
I still think those Sarah and Chaminade games are having some kind of lingering effect, but good for them.
But again, they did the same thing like last week where they shut down Culver City.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Camarillo. Camarillo had 158 yards in the first half and had 31 in the second half.
Wow.
Yeah. You've got to, not saying that St. Francis is going to beat Sarah. Steve, but
Yeah.
you got to like the position they're in now because they lost him the first time
Yeah.
over there in a game. They kind of gave him a scare for a half.
Yeah.
Now they're getting him
Yeah.
at home in the semifinals, nothing to lose. This is a
Yeah.
situation you want.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
It is.
like I said earlier in the show.
Give us that quote for a miracle, Steve. Great moments are born
Yeah.
from great opportunities. This is what you
Yeah,
have here, gentlemen.
you know,
this is what you have on Friday, St. Francis.
How about we salmonella?
Yeah, okay.
Huh?
Come on, St. Francis! For the West San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
They wanted
Who's
to.
Sarah?
Sarah might be intimidated by all
Sarah
this.
sounds like a girl to me.
Sarah might.
Careful,
Oh God.
careful about that, Fred.
Sarah, that's Father Sarah. Might be intimidated by all those people standing on the balconies at St. Francis. I don't know what Fred's thinking here, but I don't think Sarah's really fearful of this team. But maybe they can put an understanding.
I don't think Sarah's
I-
fearful of anything, but
yeah, really.
I think St. Francis has a shot in the game.
I just love seeing the West San Gabriel Valley come alive. I mean,
great.
upper division, you got your St. Francis.
Tonight-
Mid upper division,
Yeah.
you got Mir.
Yeah.
Then you got Monrovia. Then you got Rio Hondo
Yeah.
Prep.
Yeah.
It's all kind of represented right there, and it's great.
And tonight,
It could all be over next week.
yeah, but tonight
That's the beauty of
the
it.
crowd for St. Francis was full. The sidelines were full.
Yeah.
It was being like at a Bishop Vermont
Right.
game back in the day when
It's great.
when when the ball's inside the 20, there's just no space to stand
Right.
as a reporter. That's how it used to be
Right.
at Vermont games, and that's how it was at St. Francis tonight.
Awesome.
I used to love going to those St. Francis games. They had pretty good teams back there when I was
Yeah.
covering them with Bonds, and it was great because we had late deadlines. I could watch the game from the sidelines and actually get to.
Well, they
Right.
saved me
Right.
tonight by
Right.
having a 7:00 game because
Right.
7 o'clock next week, St. Francis. Everybody, 7 o'clock football games next week.
Yeah,
It
listen,
really,
it's-
you help us and you help your newspaper.
It's a great idea, it's a great thing to have a guy like Jim Bonds in the semifinals. Good for
Yeah.
him. He's one of the better coaches in the area. It's not every year that you get to enjoy this. Guy like Jim Singheiser, same thing. Good for them. Longtime coaches from around the area enjoying one of these seasons you'll never forget. So congrats to them. I think we're done here, guys.
Yep.
Right? Time to get into the weekend, and then obviously we'll be back
They
early
mentioned
next
Rio
week.
Hondo beat Excelsior Charter.
And they'll play
46-7.
Salesian next week.
At
Salesian.
Yeah, at Salesian.
They're
I think
they're
Salesian's the best team in the division, but we'll see what happens. Ken Drain's been known to pull things off before.
Yes, he has.
So we'll get back to you early in the week. Obviously, get on the blogs, have your fun, and then happy Thanksgiving early to everybody. That'll come up, and then the games the day after. Nothing like that, Freddie. Day after Thanksgiving football, playoff football. Okay, so for Frankie Palmer, Jim Singheiser, Bill Zernico, Day Williams, who didn't join us, for him as well.
He still thinks that he's not allowed to say anything to
Yeah,
that. He still thinks he's
Yeah,
trying
don't worry,
to get a
Day. It's
forfeit,
okay, man.
You know?
You can go out and get something to
He
eat
probably feels
now.
like this is a 24-hour
Right,
thing that he's
right.
got to go through today.
Exactly. For Freddie and
He's got
Stevie,
9 minutes.
For Freddie and Stevie, I'm Aram, brought to you by the Air Force. I forgot to mention that. Go to airforce.com. This has been Prep Extra Live, the post-game show. We only got a couple more of these left, folks, so enjoy them. We'll be back with you early next week.
Edgewood. It's gotta,